Hey everybody, Mr. Steck here. I'm coming to you from the Primary Center Gym this week for the recorded lesson of the week. Hopefully you get on and you see this on Seesaw. You've probably seen me in the gym if you come to our live lessons, and I'm at my whiteboard where we usually have the weekly fitness challenge. This week for our live lesson, we're going to be talking about a little bit of a throwing motion, okay? In honor of the Packers' first football game this week against the Vikings. We're going to be learning about a little bit of a football throw. Now, if you don't have a football at your house, that's okay. You can just use any ball, and I'm going to demonstrate how to do it with both styles, all right? But first, this week, I'm going to review what we've been working on the last couple weeks before we get into our throwing motions, all right? And then I have a game for us to play at the end. We've been working on some skipping, some galloping, and some side shuffle. So those are all different ways that we can move around in a big open space like our gym or at your house outside, at a park, anywhere that you can go where there's a big open space and you can move around without bumping into stuff, right? And last week we talked about different directions that we can move in. We talked about a curvy line, a zigzag line, and then a start-stop style. So we go, 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 go. All of these things are things that you might do when you're doing different activities like football or basketball or any other activity that you might play, like a tag game that we did last week if you watched the recorded lesson last week. Now, if you missed the recorded lesson last week or the week before, totally okay. You can always go back on Seesaw and check out those lessons by going to the activity that I send you guys and click on the link in the middle of the slide there. I try to keep the slides looking somewhat the same every week so you don't have to hunt around and find the link. You should be able to click on it inside that little word bubble and then it takes you to the video. If you ever have problems with that, have mom or dad send me an email and then I'll try to figure out what's going on with those links, okay? For our warm-up this week, before you get into your throwing, I want you to do some practice of these things for 3 to 5 minutes, okay? So for 3 to 5 minutes, I want you to practice your skipping, your galloping, and your side shuffle, and you can do it in different directions. If you tuned into our live lesson last week, we did this during class, right? So a lot of us were inside last week because it was pretty rainy. Hopefully this week you'll be able to get outside if the weather's better, and you'll be able to maybe practice these things in the yard or at a park or anywhere where you have a lot more open space than trying to do it in your kitchen where you might bump into somebody or a stool or something like that, okay? This week we're going to be talking about throwing. I'm going to slide over here so you can see. The skill we're working on is throwing, and I'm going to show you throwing with a football and just a regular ball, like a circle one, okay? When we're doing our throwing, I'm going to talk about the main things that you need to do before you throw the ball, and then we're going to do some throwing practice. After you do some throwing practice, then you can move on to our throwing game, and I'm going to show you what that looks like today too. It's a challenge where you're able to score some points. In this game, you'll be able to just play by yourself, or you can play with somebody else. Since there's points involved, you just give yourself the points. Maybe you take like 5 turns, see how many points that you score, and then start back at 0 and see if you can beat your score on the next one. If you're playing with somebody else, then you can see if you score more points than they do, okay? I'll talk about that a little bit more after we talk about our throwing skills. Okay, now I have here both a football and a regular ball. Okay, check it out. These are my footballs, all right? And these are my regular balls. You'll notice on a football, it's obviously different shaped, and they have these special things that run down the middle of them called the laces, okay? Just like the laces on your shoe. When you're throwing a football, we're going to put our fingers on the laces. Now, it doesn't matter how many fingers you decide to put on it. Here's what does matter. When you're gripping the football, I want you to use that small C grip. Okay, so I'm a right-handed thrower. This is my favorite hand. I'm going to make a small C with my hand, and then the point of the football comes into the C. All right, now, depending on the size of your football, you might have 3 fingers on, you might only have 2 fingers on. If your football's bigger, your hand won't be able to fit around it, so you're going to have to move your fingers a little bit, okay? For me and these footballs, I like to use 3 fingers on the laces, all right? And I have that small C grip here with the point coming through. If you don't have a football and you're using a regular ball, you're still using a small C grip. The ball just comes into the middle of your hand like this, okay? No laces on this ball, so you don't have to worry about putting your fingers on it, but I still have that small C, and the ball is in my hand, all right? No matter which one you're using, football or regular ball, the small C grip is what we're looking for, all right? Now, up next, small C, fingers on laces, and then I'm going to be getting ready to throw. If my favorite hand is this hand, put this down. If my favorite hand is this hand with the ball, okay, I'm going to be stepping with my opposite foot. So I'm a right hand favorite hand, left foot is my opposite. So I'm stepping at my target, okay? My target is over there. That could be a person, or when I demonstrate the game in a second, I'm going to be using a garbage can for my target, okay? So I'm stepping at my garbage can, okay? Here's my ball. The ball is going to come up over my head like this. So I'm not throwing from down here, it's gonna go to the floor. I bring the ball up over my head, so step with my foot, over my head, and then my elbow goes first when I throw, all right? Looking at it from this direction. Step with my foot, over my head, can't hardly see it, and then elbow goes first when I throw, okay? When I'm throwing at my target, I want to be looking at the person that I'm throwing to or the garbage can. My other hand, I could use as a pointer, okay? Sometimes that helps. So I can point the hand that I'm trying to throw or in the direction I'm trying to throw, step with my foot, over my head, and then elbow first, the ball goes to my target, okay? You might have to adjust where you're throwing the ball based on where it lands. So if on your first throw, the ball goes and it lands on the floor in front of the person or the garbage can, you might have to aim up a little bit higher, okay? Another way to think about that is you might have to throw a little bit farther, right? Some people like to think about it in different ways, okay? That's our throwing skill. Now, after you practice that throwing skill for a little while, you're gonna be ready for our game this week. And our game is a throwing challenge, all right? Now, if you're using a not football, that's fine, okay? You have it in your hand, step with your foot, over your head, and then elbow first when you're throwing the not football, okay? Another way that I like to kind of give you to think about is, if you're talking on the phone, when you're done, you hang up the phone. So when you're throwing a ball, step with your foot, over your head, and then elbow first, you have to hang up the phone after you throw the ball, okay? So it looks like this. It's called a follow through. You're gonna hang up the phone, okay? Now I'm gonna turn the camera so you can kind of see what I'm throwing at. All right, check it out. There's my garbage can, okay? So when you're playing my game, when you throw the ball, if the ball hits the garbage can, okay, it's going to be worth 1 point, all right? If the ball goes inside of the garbage can, it's going to be worth 3 points. And then you can add those points together. All right, so 1 point for hitting the garbage can, 3 points for going in the garbage can. You can decide how many turns you get to make up your points. Okay, so if you take 10 turns, whatever your points are, if you start back at 0, then you're going to take 10 more turns to try to beat that score. Hope that makes sense. All right, once again, you're going to be making a small C with your fingers on the laces. All right, bringing the ball up by your head. Elbow goes first when you throw, okay? So, and then I'm gonna hang up the phone. See what I can do here. Step with my foot, over my head, and then elbow first when I throw. A little bit too far, I get 0 points. All right, that's the way that works. My not football. Step with my foot over my head. Elbow first. Ooh, I hit it, so I get 1 point. Okay? Try one more time. Step with my foot over my head. Elbow first, over the can, 0 points. Okay? You can keep doing that as many times as you'd like to and add your points all up at the end. Okay? Hopefully that makes sense for everyone. We'll see you next week in the live lessons where we're going to talk about these things, and then we'll do a little throwing challenge during the live lesson. When you come to your live lesson next week, if you could have the ball that you're using with you, that would be very helpful. That way we get a chance to practice during our live lesson. See everybody, that's all we got this week. Hopefully the weather shapes up a little bit better and we can get outside for this throwing practice, okay? Later.